be working, making these little slides and the y'all see the little topic changing thing down there and whatever else. That shit ain't no joke, man. I'm telling you, all that typing and all this and that. But I think I had one more that I was going to share with y'all, but I think I had one more like video or something that I was going to share. I got to make sure that I pull it up because I think I had another video ready to share. Got to make sure before I move on and talk about my Pittsburgh Steelers. Although I think I got all the slots out with that, so that was pretty good. Now my Pittsburgh Steelers, as far as my Pittsburgh Steelers is going, right? Pittsburgh Steelers fans, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get this Steeler talk in. Because I can't do a show without talking about my Steelers. I think it's disrespectful. I'm going to be trying to cover Buffalo, Philly, a little bit of Cleveland. I'm in that area. So, I think it's only fair. A lot of people have been asking me to do that a lot more to cover those teams because people that I know like those particular teams. So that's just what it is. I want to grow. I like what I do. So I'm probably going to be doing that moving forward. Anyway, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have wide receivers. We got a problem with wide receivers right now. We just do. So I'm calling it the Pittsburgh narrow receivers because it's narrow. We ain't really got receivers. That's a problem. That's a problem. And but when you look at our division, the only team that really has receivers right now, and that's weird to say Pittsburgh don't have receivers, right? Ain't that weird? Because you look at our past teams and you look at some of the great receivers we had, like Antonio Brown. We had Martavius Bryant. We had guys that come through. Come on, man. We had a lot of guys. Like, do I got to keep naming them? Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, he did well when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I go back to Yancey Thigpen, dog. Like, we've had receivers in Pittsburgh for however long you want to talk about it. They get guys in later rounds, develop these guys, and they start cooking. Who was that guy supposed to be this year? It was supposed to be Rock Taylor from Memphis. He was supposed to be that undrafted guy, receiver that came to Pittsburgh and got right. But for some reason, after the preseason game and at a joint practice, he got into the doghouse with Mike Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin didn't like what he did. Mike Tomlin did not like what he did. And for some reason, he got to move on. Because look, we all business with this organization. We want to win. You got to work hard. And you work hard, you play hard, you get great rewards. That's just what happens in Pittsburgh. And for some reason, Rock Taylor just didn't work out. I was hoping he was, because he's a big body receiver who's willing to get his hands dirty in the run game. And he's a dog. He's a dog. You got to watch him, man, from Memphis, man. And I thought he was going to work out under the tutelage of DK Metcalf. He was going to work out. But now we're leaning our offense heavily on DK. And that scares me moving forward just a little bit. And here's why, y'all. This is why. Because Calvin Austin's health is a problem with me. Him staying healthy. He got injured his rookie year, had to sit a year, come back, and he's always dealing with some kind of injury. And I wonder, is it something with these 5'8", 5'9" receivers who are only weighing 175, 185 pounds that are really quick? They're always sustaining these lower body injuries. And I don't know. I don't want to put him in a box or anything, but he just can't stay healthy. And that's a problem. So now it's questionable, right? So now we have to go to a number 2. And I think, is it going to be Roman Wilson? I don't can we really depend on Roman Wilson right now? Honestly, I think he played well up at Michigan. I think he played well enough. He's got to believe in himself. Roman Wilson has to embrace who he is on this team and not get starstruck at looking at, the guys and putting so much weight on it. You came from Michigan. Not only did you come from Michigan, Rome, you played on a national championship team. Like, come on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just ain't nobody, bro. Like, it's about time people know who you is and making a statement, like, and putting it down and believing. Because I really don't want to have to depend on. And look, no offense to Scotty Miller, I don't want to put him in that box and say he's just a one-trick pony. Scotty Miller is. But we know he's a flyer. We know he's been used to go down a field, stretch the field, catch those deep passes. Or Ben, I can't even pronounce his last name. Excuse me if I get it wrong. Ben Skarak or something like that. I can't even pronounce his last name. Excuse me for saying that. But he's more of a special teams guy. He still needs development himself. And that's who we have to depend on at receiver right now in Pittsburgh. It's a problem. And that's why, to me, right? So what do we do? Do we activate Robert Woods from the practice squad? I mean, because we have to get a legit number 2, or didn't Kenneth Gainwell from Philly that played running back, wasn't he playing receiver at one point in time? Could we use him in a slot? I mean, we got enough backs. I mean, if we really needed to go heavy, couldn't we put the ball in Connor Hayward's? I know this sounds crazy, Pittsburgh fans. I know it does. But couldn't we put the ball in Connor Hayward's hands? When he was at Michigan State, he played H-back, fullback, tailback, tight end. He did it all. I mean, he can be a nice third down back, short yardage, third down, goal line type of situation back. Or, you know what I mean? Or just to come in for a play. We got backs, right? And I'm confused, like, because we need that slot position filled, right? Kenneth Gainwell can play the position. I know he can. We can stretch him out. Well, I don't know if we'll use him like that. This is just me speculating and throwing my ideas out there with the team. That's all I'm doing right now, Pittsburgh Steelers fan. That's all I'm doing, literally. You know what I mean? I'm throwing something out there and seeing if it stick to the wall. You know what I mean? I'm being honest. And then, like, you look at the way that, and what does this mean for the offense moving forward with Pittsburgh, with the Steelers? What does this mean? I'm like, gosh, we got tight ends. That's it. Tight ends. The tight ends. Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth. We got 3 tight ends. Heavy personnel. I know it's weird to say that. Well, ain't nobody really running a wing T in the NFL. Nobody's doing that. They're not running 3 tight ends. They're not running 2 tight ends. I swear the Patriots that they played very well with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. Very well. And I don't think that's a far off. I think that's what we have to do. We have to utilize those tight ends as if they're wide receivers. We're going to have to do that, right? We want to be physical. We want to run the ball. We want to have presence. You want to open up the field. You want to make it tough on the DBs and tough situations. That's how we do it. But I'm like, okay, now I'm getting on somewhere. But where am I going with this, right? Because you got heavy sets, which is the jumbo. Now I know, I know, right? But nobody's doing it, and you can attack, and you don't always need to put a fullback when you go heavy, or you can go ace. Could we see some I formation in this? Because we don't have receivers. We have to play to our strengths. But we got tight ends, and it's a matchup nightmare when you're trying to put a linebacker on Pat Freiermuth or Jonnu Smith or Darnell Washington, or even a DB. Those are some big body dudes, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, look, I could be street dreaming or whatever. I'm just saying. And there's so much you can do moving forward. Now, is this going to fit the Arthur Smith system? I don't know. I really don't know if it's going to fit Arthur Smith's system. But where do we go for receiver? because it's a problem that we are having right now, Steelers fans. We don't know what we're going to do. Like, we have one receiver. Who's going to step up? Is somebody going to step up on this team at receiver and really lock down this number 2 spot? Or are you going to get your hands dirty in this run game? Because I tell you what, that's what we need. That's what we need right now. And I mean, I'm just throwing things out there right now because I really think that Atlanta may have dropped the ball with not signing Nick Nash. I didn't follow the Falcons enough to know exactly how he performed in at camp with the Falcons. So, you know, I can't go there and just say, oh, he for sure, you know, was bad. He didn't help in the run game. His route running wasn't there. It's hard for me to believe somebody who played quarterback can't play receiver. You know what I mean? Like, and I know, yeah, we've seen it in the past. There's guys who's always played quarterback or had quarterback experience and struggled at the wide receiver position. However, he led the NCAA last year ahead of Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner. The Heisman, he led. He had more. And granted, he played San Jose State, but I think he played some very tough teams. Like, he didn't play against the worst Mountain West teams, right? Mountain West Conference teams. He was in the G5, correct. But he didn't play the worst of them. You know, he played UNLV, did well. Boise State did well. I know he racked up most of his yardage against other teams. I think even he played Washington State last year, Oregon State. He played some good teams. He showed up. He's a big body guy. He's out there on the Atlanta's practice squad. Is that a guy that we could be possibly going after? I mean, at this point, I think so, because look, he's there. We know he can play the position. We know he knows how to use his body. He has a little bit of speed. He's athletic, you know, and maybe we can go ahead and try to develop this guy, bring him up here, get him around DK, and let's go to work. But other than that, I feel confident in our defense, right? I feel confident in our defense. I think that our offense will be able to move the ball. They will figure it out what to do, even if we have to constantly go with 2 tight ends on the field, but we still need that second guy. And he has to be clutch. He has to be clutch because we know DK is. But that's what I had for that, y'all, because receivers is a problem right now. It just is. And that's the only thing. I don't know how y'all feel out there, Steelers fans. Oh, by the way, did Shilo get picked up by the Steelers? I heard that. And I was like, I got to look that up. I don't know if we picked up Shilo Sanders or not. I want to check it out, though, to see if Shilo Sanders got picked up by the Steelers or was that just a bad rumor? Because I don't know if it was true or not. The Steelers just made a clear stance on Shilo Sanders, crystal clear. Steelers just made their stance on Shilo Sanders, crystal clear. Okay. I don't think that we took him. Did we take him? I don't think so. Do I got a problem with Shilo? No. I don't have a problem with Shilo. I think he's a good person. I think that he's like one of those type of guys Mike Tomlin might have. I think it would be perfect on special teams for us, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. We'll give him that type of opportunity, his toughness. Shilo Sanders is out. He's like outdated to me with his style of play. You know what I'm saying? Like, a more physical guy, and you can't play that position. And I did say this before. I was like, why don't Shilo put on some weight and move the linebacker? I said that 2 years ago on David Talks Buffs when I was with him and Raw, and they just looked at me like, you're bugging. You're a new dude out here and you're bugging. I'm like, why am I bugging? I was like, I'm not bugging on that. Like, I really, and I said that a couple years ago, honestly, but nobody would never know because obviously who's watching me, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's cool. But I said that. And I think that's okay. That's logic. That's logical. Like, okay, like he gets broke down. You know what I mean? I think ever since his shoulder injury, he hasn't really played the same. His tackling, and it's because the way he hits, right? Is I think that's how he ran into the shoulder injury or whatever. But I still think he can play that position, right? Because he can put you in the mind of like, and I didn't say he was. He puts you in the mind of guys like a Jamal Adams, right? You know what I mean? That they're strong in the pass, but a physical kind of guy, right? Guy that's probably going to get penalties back there because he's going to play physical with you in the game. Pause. But yeah, I just think that I didn't think that was bad for him to do that, to make that transition that way. You know, put on a couple more pounds, move the linebacker. Will he slow down? Maybe, but not that much to the point where maybe he's even able to carry that weight. You know what I mean? Maybe he's able to carry the weight. You know, that's all I'm saying. And if not, you know, some special teams, I don't know. But I think going in as a DB, as a safety, I think that kind of hurt him in the NFL because, you know, you're not going to make that. They want their safeties to run all over the field. They want their linebackers to run all over the field too. But I mean, linebackers are getting smaller. But the physical nature of football is coming back now, and they do want their linebackers to weigh a little bit more now. You know, back then, linebackers was what, you know, early 2000s, 90s, linebackers, it was in the 80s, what they was 250, 260 linebackers. You know what I mean? Strong, solid, you know. And now a linebacker, you know, just 3-4 years ago, linebackers 215, 225. You know what I mean? It was good to be 225 at linebacker. But who knows, man? The game has changed, it has evolved, but that's all I had to say, man. But now I know y'all want to get back to watching our games because I know I interrupted y'all watching y'all football games, and I appreciate y'all coming in. Hope y'all hit that like button. I appreciate y'all